Boys, we gotta talk. Glasses gotta come off for this one. I just watched the Stephen Silas post-game interview from last night's game against the Sacramento Kings. And I have so many thoughts. So many. It's kind of unreal. They lost to the Sacramento Kings last night, 140 to 120. They let Keegan Murray do whatever the fuck he wanted to the Rockets last night, okay? And I kind of feel bad for Stephen Silas. Like, I know he's the coach, and everybody points to the coach. And yes, a head coaching change is needed in Houston, okay? Because at this point, I feel like Stephen Silas has lost his team. But everything John Wall said in the podcast he was on recently about Houston and how, like, basically talking about the young guys, about how, like, the shit that they do and the shit that they get away with would not fly with other organizations. I'm starting to see that. I'm starting to understand Stephen Silas's frustration and John Wall's frustration, because when I watch this team play, okay, I see a bunch of players who are out there playing for themselves. And it feels very weird to say that, but, like, there's no, like, I feel like maybe there's no camaraderie. I feel like maybe they all think they're better than each other. Eric Gordon is clearly giving the fuck up. Okay, like, we saw that in the beginning of the season. Like, what was it? I think it was Jalen Green and Jabari Smith Jr. got into a spat on the bench, and Eric Gordon was just sitting there like, yeah, you know what? This just another day at the fucking office here in Houston, man. Like, that's the vibe I got. And now I see why. Like, now I see why Eric Gordon does not give a fuck. His team is not winning. He can't be traded. Eric Gordon is there to get his bread and get the fuck out. Okay, like, that's what Eric Gordon is there for. He is there for the same reason that John Wall was there, to get his bread and get the fuck out. Okay? John Wall in this interview said that, like, you know, the way the organization was run, like, they wouldn't even let the young guys earn a spot on the team. Like, they were handed, like, starting positions and stuff like that. Like, John Wall wanted them to compete, earn your spot. Nope, Houston didn't want to have none of that. They were like, nope, you're gonna sit your veteran ass down on the bench, and you're gonna let Jalen Smith go out here and run this point guard. Okay. You're going to sit your ass down on the bench and let Kevin Porter Jr. get this work in the starting lineup, okay? And I think to myself, man, Kevin Porter Jr. is a guy who has a rough history, okay? Jalen Green, decent player, okay? I somehow feel like Jalen Green's not going to end up being the player that we think he is, because this year, efficiency-wise, like, just on 2-pointers alone, 2-point field goals, he's shooting 4% worse this year than he did in his rookie year. Like, last year he shot 50% on 2-pointers. This year he's shooting 46% on 2-pointers. He's shooting 41% from the field, and I believe 32% from 3. Like, he is not having a good year efficiency-wise as a second-year player, okay? Jalen Green, let's take a look. He is shooting 33% from the 3 this year, 41% from the field, 41.1% from the field, and 78% from the free throw line, okay? For an effective field goal percentage of 48.2, so not good. Jabari Smith Jr. has been a fucking disaster. Wow, has Orlando dodged a bullet, man. And this is the guy that I thought was like, yeah, you know what, he could be really good. But then another part of me kind of wonders, is Jabari Smith just in the wrong fucking situation? You know, like, this is a guy that has to compete with touches with Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., Alperen Şengün. Like, yeah, maybe he would have had to compete with that and shit like that. in anywhere, like in Orlando anyway, or even in Oklahoma City anyway. But at least in Oklahoma City, you know you got guys who can develop talent. I have never seen Houston really develop a fucking guy since what, Chandler Parsons? I mean, like, I can't remember the last Houston Rockets player where I was like, yeah, you know what? He came up as a Rocket and he was really fucking good. Okay, like, I don't remember it. I can't remember anybody in recent history outside of Chandler Parsons where I'm like, yeah, they developed him and he became a solid player. Like, James Harden was good before he even went to Houston. He just got traded to Houston and you know, was given the ball and ended up becoming a really good player. But, like, I look at their roster, it's like Tari Eason is really promising, but even Tari Eason, it seems like they have a bunch of grown-ass kids on their roster, and I hate to say that, but, like, every time I watch them play, they're taking jump shots. They're not even looking for anybody. Like, Alperen Şengün is probably the best player on that team, and it feels so weird saying that, because Jalen Green is so athletically gifted and shit, but, like, I watch this team play basketball, and it's like, they don't play defense, they don't try on fucking defense, and on top of it, on offense, it's like, if Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green, or Jabari Smith Jr. get the ball, they're fucking shooting it. Same thing with Tari Eason, I feel. It's like they all seem to have, like, I don't know, like, I don't want to say it's like a, like a Messiah complex, but it seems that way. It almost seems that way, because I'm like, bro, they don't pass the fucking ball. Like, they don't try to get anybody involved. It doesn't seem like they even try to develop some team chemistry. And for Stephen Silas, I kind of feel like when you're dealing with, like, at least 3 or 4 players on your team who seem to think that they can just do whatever the fuck they want, they don't have to earn their starting position, they don't have to earn fucking anything, they're just handed all of it, like, I kind of think like I'm being judgmental. I will admit I'm being judgmental, but like it feels almost like they all feel fucking entitled. Like, yeah, I'm the fucking guy, I'm the shit, and I walk on toilet paper. You know what I'm saying? That's what it feels like, and I watch his team play and I'm like, bro, like, some of these dudes would rather shoot a jump shot than pass it to Jabari Smith Jr., which I understand. He's shooting like absolute shit this year, but like, I find it hard to believe Jabari Smith Jr. would be this bad had he went to the Orlando Magic or Oklahoma City. Like, I just find that hard to believe. Like, even Jalen Green is having a worse year. You know what I'm saying? And like, they drafted guys that I have confidence in, like Ty Washington. Like, he's a guy that I think could be very good. Tari Eason has proven to be a decent player this year. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen what he's capable of. But like, part of me is kind of like, what's gonna happen when they get a new head coach? You know, what's gonna happen when some of these dudes maybe get fucking traded and just go someplace else? Like, because that's the vibes I got from that post-game conference last night, is that Stephen Silas does not have control over his locker room, doesn't have control over his players, they don't respect him, okay? Like, it's gonna be a real fucking wake-up call when, like, Jalen Green is sitting because the head coach won't play him. Like, yeah, you know what? You thought you had it so good. Like, and honestly, maybe that's what this team needs. Maybe this team needs a more disciplined head coach. Maybe they need a Tom Thibodeau. You know what I'm saying? But I said this a couple months ago that I was not confident in the Houston Rockets rebuild. I just wasn't. Because, like, they have all ball-dominant guys. They have Jalen Smith, Kevin Porter Jr. and Jabari Smith Jr. or no, Jalen Green, Jabari Smith Jr. and Kevin Porter Jr., who all need the ball in their hands to be effective, okay? And I'm just like, they're all young guys. Like, how do you plan to develop any of these guys knowing they all need the ball in their hands to be effective, you know? And it feels like a disaster. Like, I now know what John Wall was saying. Because John Wall wanted to get the fuck out of there. Eric Gordon, I think, obviously wants to get the fuck out of there. He cannot be bothered with this shit. And you know what? I feel bad for Eric Gordon, too, because Eric Gordon is stuck in a situation where he literally has no incentive to play well. Okay, like, you're playing for Victor Wembanyama. That's what you're playing for. And Stephen Silas just wants to see some fucking improvement, and he's not even getting that. You know what I'm saying? Like, a vast majority of the guys on their roster are playing worse this year than they did last year. So, not only are they not winning games, but it seems like they're regressing more than anything. So, I don't know, man. Like, I really feel like Jalen Green is a weird piece to build around. I do. I love Tari Eason. Like, if there's any two players I think the Rockets should keep, it's Tari Eason and Alperen Şengün. I'm not a fan of Kevin Porter Jr. I'm just not. I'm not a fan of Jalen Green. I think Jalen Green thinks he's better than he is. And on top of it, Jabari Smith Jr. is like, he would be a nice guy to keep, but you need to get somebody who can develop this motherfucker's jump shot or teach him how to get better at shooting or when to take a decent jump shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, when he's around the basket, he's a decent player, but you ask him to shoot a jump shot and he couldn't hit water if he was dropped into a fucking lake. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer is for Houston, but that post-game press conference last night told me they need a new head coach and that their team is just out of control. That's what I got from the whole thing. And I'm you know what, like I said before, I'm not confident in the Houston Rockets rebuild, and I'm still not, especially after seeing this. Because you know what? Stephen Silas, it's one thing for a coach to come out and say, like, we didn't play well, okay? We need to do better this. We need to do better than that. He is clearly fucking frustrated. The man wrote shit down to bitch about in the post-game press conference. Okay? Like, he is clearly frustrated because, honestly, coaches don't usually get that way unless they lost to a sorry-ass team or the players are not listening to them. And Sacramento's a good team, okay? Sacramento right now, I think, is 4th or 3rd in the Western Conference. I could be wrong, but I know they're up there, okay? This was a coach who is frustrated with his players because they don't fucking listen to him. That's what this was. That is entirely what this was. Stephen Silas is tired of coming to work every day and knowing that Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. and whoever else is just going to fuck around in practice, okay? They're not going to adhere to anything he is saying or anything the coaching staff or the training staff is saying because they think they know it all, or, for all I know, maybe they're incapable of knowing it all. I don't fucking know. Maybe they're incapable of understanding how to play defense. I don't know, man, because I've played with plenty of players before how it's like you can cover how to do a 2-3 zone or a 3-2 zone, and they still don't understand where the fuck they're supposed to be on the court. So, I don't know, man. You know what? At the end of the day, I don't know what it is, but this pretty much backs up my reassurance on my feeling of the Houston Rockets, and it's why I don't make a lot of Houston Rockets videos, because I'm just like, this team sucks. I don't believe in their rebuild. I don't believe in the players they're drafting. It's just like, you know what? To me, I think the best thing the Rockets could do is maybe get some of these guys off their roster at the trade deadline. Like, Kevin Porter Jr. is a dude that I kind of think, like, he's been balling for them, but I think he's a guy who thinks he's better than he is, potentially. And Jalen Green, as much as I don't want to, it's hard for me to even say that, because Jalen Green's the best player they have. But if you're tanking and somebody's going to take a first-round pick or 2 first-round picks for Jalen Green, and you can maybe put yourself in a better position to get Victor Wembanyama, maybe you do it. You know what I'm saying? Because I just don't see the chemistry with this group of players. I just don't. Maybe somebody else does, but I fucking don't. I mean, like, right now, I think Orlando has a better future than the Rockets. I think Detroit has a better future than the Rockets. I think Oklahoma City, as weird as their roster is constructed, I think has a better future than the Houston Rockets. At least there's some camaraderie. At least it doesn't seem like there's animosity there. When I watch Houston play, I feel like there's animosity going on. I feel like there's locker room issues. I feel like there's all kinds of fucking issues we're not hearing about. And you know what? Now I believe John Wall. Now I believe him. Now I see what John Wall was talking about, because God, is it fucking ugly. So, I don't know, man. I kind of think if you're the Houston Rockets, trading Jalen Green and Alperen Şengün, actually maybe not Şengün, I don't know, Şengün's pretty good, but like Tari Eason's pretty good, but to me, I think the biggest problems with that team are Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. And if you're all the other players and you see the 2 best players on your team doing whatever the fuck they want and they're about the same age as you, if not younger, like, how are you, as somebody else who's maybe older than them, or you know, like you're the same age as them and you roll with them or whatever, like how if they're not letting the head coach like critique them or teach them anything, or even the coaching staff or whatever, you're probably not gonna let it happen either. Okay, like I don't know, I feel like there's preconceived notions and shit. I don't know. But tell me what you guys think about this down below in the comment section below. Like helps me out, subscribe if you guys want to see more on the Fast Break Report, and out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.